Okay, in this section we're going to do some word problems with different equations. So let's look at the first type of word problem that we're going to see, and these are our consecutive integer problems. And we're going to solve all of these problems in a similar manner. So we have three consecutive integers that have a sum of negative 192. We need to know what is the lowest of the three numbers. So you could do some guess and check for this over and over. It would take you a while, but that is probably not the best method to go about this. So if we're going to set up an equation for this, I'm going to let x equal the first number. Now these numbers are consecutive, so that means in a row. So for example, 3, 4, and 5 are consecutive integers. 9, 10, 11 are consecutive integers. Negative 7, negative 6, negative 5 are consecutive integers. So numbers in a row. So if x is my first number, then that means the second number is going to be one larger than that. So x plus 1 is my second number. And then the third number would be 2 larger than the first number. So x plus 2 would be my third number. So this will give us consecutive integers, even though we don't know what the first integer is. We see this word here, a sum of negative 192, and the word sum tells us that we're adding things together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our three integers, x plus 1, and x plus 2, and we're going to add those together. So x plus 1 plus x plus 2. So the sum of these three numbers is going to equal negative 192. So now we have an equation set up that we can solve. There's no numbers outside of these parentheses, so we have nothing to distribute. So we can just combine our x's. So x plus x plus x is going to give us 3x. We can combine the 1 and the 2, and we'll get a 3. So 3x plus 3 will equal negative 192. We will subtract our 3 from both sides here. So we get 3x equals negative 195. So we're almost done now. You might need to pull out the calculator on this last step. We're going to divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals negative 195 divided by 3 is going to give us negative 65. Okay, so negative 65 is our first number. The three numbers that we have here, we'd have negative 65. The next number would be negative 64, and then the next would be negative 63. We can check that this is correct by adding those three numbers together. When you do, you will get negative 192. Now the question asks us for the lowest of the three numbers. So the lowest of those three numbers is the negative 65. So that would be the answer to this question. Our next problem that we have here is similar, but this time we have four consecutive integers, and they have a sum of 282. So in this case, our first number is x, our next number is x plus 1, the next would be x plus 2, and then finally our fourth number would be x plus 3. So if we add all of those together, we should get 282. So x plus x plus x plus x, if we combine all four of those x's, we get 4x. If we combine 1, 2, and 3, we get 6. And this is going to equal 282. So this step, we've just got a two-step equation, so we're going to subtract the 6 here. We get 4x equals 276, and then we'll divide by 4, and 276 divided by 4 is 69. So x equals 69. We have 4 numbers here. 69 is the lowest, so 69, 70, 71, and 72 are our 4 numbers. If we add them together to check, we see we get 282. The question asks us for the largest of the 4 numbers. So the largest of the 4 numbers is 72. Okay, so let's look at example 3. Example 3 is similar to the last 2 problems, but it's a little bit different because of this word that we have right here, odd integers. So if we have 2 consecutive odd integers, they have a sum of 52. What is the product of the 2 numbers? Now this might be one you could do fairly easily by guessing and checking, but we are wanting to learn the algebra behind this, so we want to set up an equation. So this time I've got consecutive odd integers. So if I let x still be my first number, then the next odd integer won't be just 1 larger, but 2 larger. So x plus 2 will be my second number. So if you think about this, if 7 was my first integer, 7 plus 2 would give you 9. That would be the next consecutive odd integer. If 15 was my first odd integer, then if I added 2, 17. That'd be the next odd integer. So this will work. So we set up our equation now almost like we did the first 2. We're going to have x, but instead of having x plus 1, we add x plus 2 because we have skipped an integer. So we're going to add those together and get 52. If we combine our like terms, we get 2x plus 2 equals 52. We will subtract 2 from both sides. So 2x equals 50. And if we divide by 2 here, we get x equals 25. So our 2 numbers are 25 and 27. Those are our 2 consecutive odd integers. If we add them together, we will get 52, like it asks for here. Notice this question asks us for the product of the 2 numbers. So the product of the 2 numbers means that we need to multiply those 2 numbers together. So this you'll probably need your calculator for. 25 times 27 is going to be 675. So 675 is the answer to this question. You'll see them ask for something like the product of 2 numbers pretty often on multiple choice questions, because if multiple choice, if they gave you 27 as an option, then you could just work backwards too easily. So they ask for the product instead sometimes. Our last example, this one asks for consecutive even integers. So this one is going to ask for consecutive even integers. However, we're going to see that we really worked this problem just like we did with the odd integers. Because if I let x be my first number, then to count even integers, you also skip 2. So x plus 2 would be my second number, and x plus 4 would be the third number. Okay, so we can see that that would work because, say, my first integer was 10. That's an even number. If I add 2 to that, I'd get 12. If I add 4 to 10, I'd get 14. 10, 12, 14. Those are consecutive even integers. You can see if I had something like negative 8. Negative 8 plus 2 would give me negative 6. Negative 8 plus 4 would give me negative 4. Negative 8, negative 6, negative 4. Those are consecutive even integers. So this setup is going to work even though it's different than example 3. The setup really is the same. So we would add those together, x plus 2 plus x plus 4 sum should equal negative 168. So we're going to combine our like terms here. 3x plus 6 is going to equal negative 168. We subtract 6 from both sides, so we get 3x equals negative 174. And if we divide by 3 here, we might need to reach for our calculators. Negative 174 divided by 3 is going to give us negative 58. So the integers that we're going to have here are going to be negative 58, negative 56, and negative 54. We want to know the smallest of those three numbers, so that would be negative 58.